Okay, hey everyone. Okay, now we're telling everyone that we're live. So let's see if it goes on. Okay. Hey guys, John, Akshat. Hey everyone, how you doing? Nice to see you. We're just going to wait for a few more people to join and then we can attack or rock and roll. All right, welcome, warm welcome everyone, warm welcome. Loads of you coming through. Nice to see all of you. Hi. Yeah, we miss you. Yeah, I miss you boys. How you doing? Ollie Gibbs, Mr. Halil. Nice to see all of you. All right. So, first of all, a really warm welcome. The point of today, of course, is I'm going to be showing you some dishes that we do in Central, and obviously at the same time my point is I want to show you as many tips and tricks to make you the best possible cook at home. All right, so really thank you so much for joining us. All right, and really nice to see all of you, so thank you so much for joining. So if you don't know, or you should know, my name is James. I'm the executive chef of Me Dubai, and yeah, we've got some really amazing restaurants, but the one restaurant that I really need you to check out when we reopen will be Central. And Central is basically a modern tapas bar with a really super modern twist, a cosmopolitan. So it's we're going to do a few dishes here and there, and it's going to be great. So please come and check us out when we reopen. All right. At the same time, thank you very much to Dubai Calendar and Dubai Food Festival for allowing us to do this. So I think it's time to rock and roll. We've got quite a few people on, so let's have a look. All right. So first dish that we're going to do is something called a mushroom pinchos. Now, our job as chefs and as hosts, if you're hosting a dinner party, is essentially to make sure that you have the most amount of flavor in any dish. So what we're going to be using today is, the first dish is going to be the cheeky little mushroom. So with this, what we want to do is pack it full of flavor. We need to smash that flavor. So it's not just going to be boring, it needs to be amazing. And that's what I tell my team all the time. All the dishes that we have to do have to be incredible because we want people to come back and enjoy. So, first thing is, just to let you know, whenever I'm cooking anything or frying, I'm using corn oil, not olive oil. The reason being is because corn oil has a much higher flash temperature, whereas olive oil is cold pressed. Now, cold press can go to around 100, 120, and then it starts to burn very, very quickly. So that's not what we want to do. We want everything to taste incredible. So always with high frying, corn oil, really important. All right. The other thing is, when we're seasoning, there's two things that you've got to bear in mind with seasoning. There's salt and then there's pepper. Now, when you're adding salt, you want to use healthy salt. So we're using here Maldon sea salt, or you can use Cornish sea salt, but a good sea salt, fleur de sel, something like that. We try to stay away from table salt because table salt is sort of the heart clogger. It's not good for your health in general. All right. So first things first, we're going to take one of our beautiful banana shallots. All right, not a banana shallot. Just so we're clear on that. Okay. Now we're going to allow this to heat up, and first of all, what we're going to do, very carefully, we're going to just slice the shallot. We're not going to do anything fancy, all right? Very important. At the same time, that oil is heating up, all right? So, as we're doing that, very quick, all I'm going to do is just slice through the shallots, making sure, if you don't have shallots, you can use onion, you can use garlic, you can use whatever you want really, but this is going to be the base flavor. And then, it's at the same time, that's still getting nice and hot. I'm just going to slice the mushroom. So we're going to make a little mushroom puree first, which is really lovely. We're going to have that with a little bit of thyme. And don't forget, we're pumping and smashing out mushroom. So we're going to have this dish called mushroom pinchos, which is really nice with a few drinks. really popular, but also very humble to have to cook with a nice mushroom. So the oil is nice and hot. At this point, I'm going to go in. So that should be, you can see that's super hot. Little touch of salt, and then straight away mushrooms go in. All right. So to get that flavour, get the mushrooms in, turn the heat down, and then we're just going to roast. Take a little bit of time. Very nice. Take your time. But make sure you keep roasting. Alright? Now, as you can see, I've only added the salt just to the shallots. Alright? Steve, you legend. Nice to see you, Steve. Okay, now we're roasting this very quickly. Now what will happen, essentially, is that those mushrooms will soak up the fat, so you need to add a little bit more of the corn oil. Really important. Now I'm keeping this nice and high because I want to get the maximum roast out of it to caramelise those flavours. Alright? Now, if this was on a gas, it would be on quite a high heat. And it's at this point that I add the salt. Now I don't want to add the pepper. The reason being I don't want to add the pepper is because that's an additional flavour that I want to put in at the end. I do not want to put it in right now. So, mushrooms have cooked and roasted really nicely. You see? So they're in that pan. It's not too aggressive. And at this point I'm going to add the chef's favourite, okay? A little bit of butter. This is a little bit. So, butter is the key ingredient, alright? Unless you're a vegan, and then we can add vegan butter. Just saying, okay? For my vegan friends. Now what's happening now is that butter is now starting to boil, alright? And at the same time it's roasting all of these beautiful ingredients together. Now what I'm going to do, essentially, if I was in the restaurant, I would add something like a mushroom stock to punch it again full of mushroom flavour. However, because I'm at home, what I'm going to do, first off, is I've got cooking cream, or you can call it double cream. So that will go in. Second thing I'm going to do is water, alright? And I'm going to bring this massively, super quick to the boil, super fast. And the reason why I'm doing that super quickly is because if I leave it to gently simmer, I'm going to lose all of that flavour. So don't forget, the most important thing that we need to do is get that flavour smashed. It's going to reduce very, very quick. So I want to basically reduce it. Let's say if you had 500 grams or 500 ml of stock, you want to reduce that very, very quickly to around 100. So you're really boiling it as quick as you can to make sure that those flavours really get infused. Okay? Now in the meantime, what you need to do with your station, alright, because we've all got a station at home, yeah? It's clean as you go. It's my turn to do the cooking tonight for the missus, so that's why I've got the setup ready, and of course to show you guys, alright? So, next thing that I'm going to do, as this is cooking, I'm going to get ready. So I've got some mushrooms here that are basically cut into quarters. Really small, just button mushrooms, no wild mushrooms, nothing fancy, anything like that. Then another shallot, that's shallot, alright? So with this shallot, what you're going to do, again, finely slice if you can, so super finely slice. If you don't have shallots, no problem. Red onions are really nice, or the large Spanish onions are fantastic. You just want to make sure you have that done. Because this is, again, what you're doing is adding layers and layers of flavour. So, finely sliced, there we go. Okay. At the same time, as I said, if you have any questions for me related to cooking, you know, let me know and I'll try and answer them the best I can when I can. Now, This is reducing very, very quick. Let me just show you. So this is super reducing, and this is going to be ready basically within about a minute or so. Now normally, what I would do is as soon as that's reduced, straight, so we take out the little bit of thyme that I put in before, straight into the blender, blend super fast, so it's super fine, and then you've got your puree, all right? But now, because I'm a little bit limited to time, I'm not limited to this time, I'm limited to time, I've made one here, all right? So, now what's happened is this has just become super thick now. Really, really, really thick. And that's going to be my base for the pinchos itself. Alright? Now, if I can show you here, the actual colour of the puree is nice and sort of light grey. Alright? Now, if you're cooking for friends, you don't need to actually put it through a fine sieve at all. You just blend, and that's it. Whereas if you're in a restaurant, then we would put this through a fine sieve to make it super, super fine for the guest. All right. So, and as far as at home cooking, this is just slightly warm. It's not going to be super hot or anything like that because it's not nice and it's hot. So just warm. Now the next layer of flavour that I'm going to add, as I said. So we got number one. So don't forget mushroom pinchos. So layer one. Puree, done, right? Boxed off. Next thing that we need to do is box off the sauteed mushrooms, okay? So, sauteed mushrooms, we have the shallots and then we have the mushrooms. Nice and easy, no drama, right? For a little bit of greenery, what I'm going to do is also I'm going to add a little bit of parsley. But the parsley, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something controversial for the chefs, all right, the chefs that are watching. This is controversial, yeah? I'm going to use the stalk. I'm going to use the stalk because it adds flavour and a bit of depth, but I'm going to chop it quite fine, okay? So, nice and fine. It's going to be lovely, yeah? Sorry boys and girls, who are the chefs, and saying, I can't believe you're using the stalk. Yeah, I'm going to use the stalk, all right, I've done it. So, it's in there, nicely washed. Now the pan is getting hot. Don't forget, all the time I'm using corn oil. Corn oil, please. Do not use what? Olive oil. Please don't use the olive oil because it will burn really quick and it's just not a nice taste. It's a waste of nice olive oil. So, pan is hot. Now, my old head chef from Claridge's is watching, Steve Allen, a legend. So I'm a bit scared, and I've got my general manager and everyone else watching, so no pressure. No pressure. I've got it cleaned down at the same time. Clean as you go, clean as you go. So, oil's nice and hot. I'm going to roast this super fast. Yeah? So what I want to do, as soon as those mushrooms are going to go in the pan, I want to roast them. I don't want to add any salt straight away. If I add the salt, what's going to happen? I'm going to boil the mushrooms instead of roast them. So as I said, we're going to add salt and pepper later on, but in the beginning you want to roast the mushrooms. Really, really important. Now, the way to check if the oil is hot, put your whole hand in the oil. No, don't put your whole hand in the oil. I'm joking. Okay. So, pan is cold. Let's have a look. Why is that? So what am I going to do? You really do not want to basically, you don't want to have that oil cold. It's got to be super steaming hot. So, okay, now it's coming along. Now it's coming along. See, gas would be great, but the setup that I've got, I want to use induction, you see. Alright gang, so hold on for a minute. I'm going to get a much hardcore pan, so just wait 2 secs. Alright, wait 2 secs. All right, so, deal. We've got the pan, no drama. So we're going to salt to a much bigger pan, and this is going to give me a really nice surface area, all right? So, in we go, in we go. This will heat up really quick now. So, apologies for that, no drama, big banana. All right, but now it's going to heat up super fast. In the meantime, the other layer of flavour that we're going to have. So because we have the puree, mushroom puree, because we're going to have sauteed mushrooms, the other thing that I want to have for the guests, basically, for your guests to have a really amazing mushroom pinchos, is also going to be raw mushrooms. So this here is what, like a mini baby mandolin, which is super sharp. So when you're doing this, be careful, or the best thing to do is get someone else to do it so they cut their fingers and you don't, right? So very carefully, shave those mushrooms so they're sort of wafer thin, right? If they're wafer thin, they'll be really nice, easy to eat. Okay? So, and these are lovely, yeah? Just wafer thin. All right, so our oil is nice and hot. Now watch. Now, as I told you, these are roasting. I do not want to add any salt at this stage because I want to get a nice caramelization. If I add salt straight away, we're going to boil the mushrooms, and we don't want to boil them. We want to roast them. So they're starting to roast really nicely. And don't forget that mushrooms, they're like a sponge, so they'll soak up fat very, very quickly. So give them a really, really good shake. And at this point, I'm going in with the shallots. Give it the old chef shake. Turn the heat down. Don't forget the butter, little bit, yeah? Little bit. Salt going in. Flavor, bit of thyme. And actually now, this is ready. Bit of black pepper, in we go. Then parsley goes in. And then acidity. So just a little pinch. And that's it. Done deal. So we're going to transfer that to my beautiful working pan, because I'm sure I will need this pan later on. Okay, so here I've got a secret bin. Always make sure you've got a little bin, so whenever you work, you're working nice and clean and not messy. So, the other thing that I'm going to do now is a quick clean down. For those of you watching at home, so this is how we work in the kitchen, constantly cleaning, which is really important. So let's go back to how we're going to basically build the whole dish now. Alright? So, mushroom puree, we discussed. Then we have the shaved mushrooms. So, if you can see that, the raw mushrooms, super thinly sliced, wafer thin, yeah? And don't forget, best to get a young child to do, no, don't get a young child to do this, it's a joke. You do it yourself, but be very careful when slicing, be super careful, all right? And then, what we've just done now is the sauteed mushrooms. So we've added lots of different layers of flavor. Now, what you could do, if you don't like parsley, you can add dill. If you don't like dill, you can add chives, so on and so forth. So it's up to you, but for this recipe I'm using parsley because it's just nice and easy, okay? And then finally, so this one, what we're going to do. So any good, nice baguette, nice and thin. Essentially, this dish is like a little starter. But what I want to do is, so normally in the restaurant what we will do is we make a really full-on hardcore like garlic butter, and then we would actually get the bread and we would toast it so nice and slow, so it's super crisp. Now you guys can do that, absolutely, but what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do my little plating up just here so you can see it. Alright, now as I said, normally do a garlic butter, goes into the oven, slow temperature, and then essentially getting like really crispy garlic bread. But for the purpose of today and for what you're going to do at home for friends, we're just taking really soft, super fresh baguettes. And it's at this point when the magic happens, right? This is the plating. And it's not like any other sort of pinchos, or maybe perhaps you would know it as a bruschetta, because bruschetta would just be one layer of flavor, whereas actually what we're doing is we're doing 3 layers of flavor. And then again, if we were in the restaurant, we would do mushroom powder, mushroom vinegar, we would just pump it full of mushrooms, because essentially what we want to do is to make sure that whoever dines with us in the restaurant has just the most incredible flavors. And it doesn't matter which dish, every single dish has to be amazing, right? So here we go. So we're going to plate up, and as I said, this puree should be warm, not super hot. That's going to burn you. No. So that's going to be the first layer, nice and easy. All right. Now, depending on how many guests you're going to have, and depending on how you want to do this, it's completely up to you. But we would normally serve it with 3. Next one. So this is the sauteed mushrooms, right? And these are the ones which are actually packed full of flavor. Now, when doing this, all of the oil and butter and lemon that's inside the pan is massive. Like, it's just, this has got real oomph. So don't throw that in the bin. You want to keep that, yeah, for later on. So what we're going to do, we're going to put these mushrooms in, and again, if it was a fine dining restaurant, you could do this with wild mushrooms, ceps, truffle on the top, depends on your budget, right? But we're doing a nice, simple, easy-going budget, so we're keeping it nice and steady, nice and easy. All right? Now, all of these little mushrooms go in here like so, and what's happening is that all of that flavor and all of that fat essentially is going into the bread. That's why we do it, because we want all of that to stay nice and sticky and really, really nice. And then this is the bit that we want to do. All of that there is flavor, all of it. So don't lose it. This is really important. Sorry team. Right, so pincers. These are the ones that you get from your wife's makeup drawer. All right. No, I'm joking. These are professional pincers. You don't use your wife's makeup. Don't use the pincers from your wife. It's not. So, going back to the dish, I'm going to put loads and loads of these little wafer thin mushrooms over the top. Yeah, loads, because they're really, really nice. And actually, you don't really feel them. And as I said, you can put truffle over the top and loads of really beautiful things. So, completely up to you. And then, just to use, finish the dish, we've got a little bit of roasted thyme from the pan that we have here. And then, essentially, that's the finished dish. So you can see, it's just lovely, like really nice, super simple. However, we've really done a lot of work to make sure that it stays amazing. So, first dish out of the way, now we're going to do the second dish, which is going to be Seabass, fennel and orange. stick around because it is amazing. It's a cracker, right? So now we're going to do a quick turnover, very quick. Thank you very much. Hope everyone has enjoyed that one, and thank you so much for staying on. Now, the next dish. We have got some gorgeous baby fennel. Alright. At the same time, we've got some really amazing sea bass fillet. This comes from our friends over at Fresh Express. George and Emmanuel, thank you very much. So those of you who don't know Fresh Express, they're really fantastic. If you go on their website, they've got a huge array of things. Fresh Express, 2 S's, int.com. Alright, really fantastic. So beautiful piece of sea bass here. And essentially, it's going to be a dish based on sea bass, fennel and orange. So there's 3 things, right? Okay, let me just get this wiped down. And what I say to everybody is that whenever you're building your dish, the most important thing is to make sure that you've got some really fantastic flavour, of course, but at the same time, the human tongue can only recognise 3 flavours at the same time. So if you want to build a dish with 7 different things, you can, but you're going to confuse everybody. And as I said, what I want to do is I want to basically showcase a superstar. So the superstar in this case is going to be the sea bass, followed by Mr. Fennel, and then Mrs. Orange over here. Alright, so that's what we're going to focus on for today. Now, if you don't have baby fennel, absolutely cool. Large fennel is fantastic, or big bulb fennel. You can cut it into wedges. But at this time of year, baby fennel is really, it should be super great and fantastic. So, first things first. I'm gonna do these little wedges, easy peasy, and I'm gonna basically just pan fry them. So you need to make sure that you have a very flat surface. Okay? So if I have a look at the biggest ones, that's the ones which are going to be the best ones for me. So, and just literally in half, no prep at all. Super easy. The other one, and it's a little bit more tricky to do. What we're going to do is to have basically orange braised fennel. We're going to have a raw fennel coleslaw, and then caramelized orange sauce with raw orange and grated orange. And what I've also done, just for a little bit more depth of flavour, is the fennel here. So this is fennel seeds, not raw. What I've done is I've blanched them in hot water and left them overnight, and then washed them off. They smell incredible. They smell really delicious, and that's going to go into the coleslaw. So, being super careful, make sure that the fennel is very finely sliced. Very finely sliced. You can grate it. You can grate it if you want. However, I'm going to show you a little trick to sort of break it down. Okay? And by the way, you can do this in advance. You don't need to be a psycho like me and do it on camera in front of your old head chef from Claridge's with Gordon. No, you can do this in advance. Okay? So, and by the way, the mushroom puree, all of these things you can do in advance as well, which is really nice. So, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the raw fennel. Okay? This time, little touch of Mr. Olive Oil over here. Okay? Really important. Little bit. The acidity is going to come from orange here. So I've got a little bit of orange juice. That's going to start to cook it. and then salt. Now the salt's really important because it's also going to start to cook it. If you want, depending on your personal preference, you can add pepper to this. All right. If you want to be controversial, don't add the pepper. All right. Depending on how controversial you feel. So mix this through really nicely. And what we're going to do with this salad is just let it sit and let it wilt for about 5 to 6 minutes. And as that's cooking, as the actual sea bass is cooking, it will just, instead of being crunchy, it'll just be nice and soft and really, really lovely. Okay. So, stage 1, done deal. These are the braised what? Leeks? No, fennel, right? So braised fennel. We're going to braise them, as I said, literally in orange juice. And because they're so small, they will take no time at all. Maybe 5-6 minutes maximum, even less. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep my fish. So let me just get that ready. I'll be right back. So when you see this fish, this is a really beautiful, really amazing fillet. And in fact, we're going to use all of it. We're not going to throw anything away because all of it is flavour. At the same time, we want to say thank you, Mr. Fish, for giving your life to us. And be grateful for what he did. So we're going to prep that now. Now, first things first, we're going to take the belly. And the belly is full of fat. Full of fat. Essentially, that means flavour for us. So all this flavour is going to go into the sauce. Okay? So I want to keep that to one side and I'm not going to forget it. Then the tail, just taking a little bit off the tail, that's also going to be used for our flavour purposes. Now I could cook the fish like that without it being scored, but if I do that, it's not going to cook evenly. So what I'm going to do is just slice it and basically scoring it with a very, very sharp knife all the way along, and that will help me to cook the fish really, really evenly. Okay? Now, if you don't have sea bass, sea bream is fantastic, gurnard is great. There are lots of really amazing fish around. And this dish also works really well with mackerel. If you like mackerel is also amazing. So this is what we've done. So we've scored it, as you can see, sort of like a concertina. That fish is ready. Now the only thing that's left to do now, okay, is to just cook the whole thing. Number one, and then number two, say a prayer to make sure that this is working properly. Number three, I've also got here my orange. Now, and what I want to do is I'm going to segment the orange. Don't lose this, we also want to use this for later. When segmenting the orange, again, be really, really careful. So you want to take all the white off and make sure you're super smooth about it. If you have a serrated knife also works really well when doing this. Okay? So that's done. Okay. Now the way you're going to segment is just take it in your hand very carefully, don't go through, and you just want to have those little segments. And the reason we're doing this is because we want to have a nice little kick of acidity and freshness in the dish. And because being the time of year that it is, you know, it's nice to have a super fresh dish for dinner. All right. The temperature here in Dubai at the moment is around 42 to super hot basically. In the UK, I'm not sure what's the temperature in the UK. If you're in the UK, let me know. But this sort of dish is amazing. Is amazing. So here we are. Really nice little segments. Okay, my bin is, I'm going to use that for later. So the bin is there. Okay. Don't forget to clean down. Don't forget to clean down. Okay. I've got everything ready. And what's nice is as I've been talking, this salad has started to wilt really, really quickly. It started to wilt really, really nicely. Okay, so who's asking questions? Oh my God. Sorry team. Okay. So everyone there? Yeah, everyone there? Okay, good. Good. All right. So the pan is on. Okay, everybody in? Are you in, guys? Are you in? Wave. Is everybody in? Yeah, you're in. Everyone, just checking. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is the most important part, which is cook the sea bass. All right. So I'm going to start to cook the sea bass straight away. Right, guys. Thank you for holding on. Really appreciate you being there. Really. Thank you. First thing that I'm going to cook is the sea bass. When you're cooking the sea bass, once again, use the corn oil. Whew. God, I've been going on and on for ages, haven't I? I need to shut up. So, use this hot pan. We're going to braise these off, and then we're going to serve it with a coleslaw, right? Very nicely. What I'm going to do is actually, that piece of fish is a little bit big, so I'm going to just cook two pieces at the same time. So, season both sides, okay? And just turn down that pan at the same time. Fennel is going in. And just leave it to cook. Now you don't want to shake the pan. This is really important that you don't shake the pan. Okay? Alright, so who's here? Still everybody there? Yes. Now what I'm doing is I'm just letting it roast on the skin side only. Same with the actual fennel. Just let it roast on the skin side only. Now this sea bass will cook very quickly. Now I've got a little plate here as a backup. Because I want to take the sea bass out in a minute and let it rest. Lovely. So just keep checking that sea bass. Okay? Lovely. And I've caramelized the fennel really nicely. So I'm going to turn this over. And I'm going to add a little bit of butter to that fish. Now what's going to happen is I'm going to take the sea bass out in a second. Don't forget, I need to make the sauce. So I'm going to make the sauce straight away. Now as the sea bass keeps cooking, we're going to add this bad boy. A bit of thyme, then the orange juice. Woo. And that's going to cook really nicely. Then remember the old bits of fish I had, that's going to go in for a little bit of flavour. Nice amount of orange in there. Now at this stage, I'm going to take out the sea bass and let it rest. I'm going to let that rest, but I'm going to make this sauce, right? I need to make this sauce. So, then we're just going to chop a little bit of parsley, sorry, a little bit of dill. Stalks and all. And that's going in. And then off. And this is ready. Okay, so let's recap the dish. You're still here, guys? Still here? Yes, thank you. Thank you for staying on. Thank you very much, really. Okay. Now, time to plate up. So what we're going to do, set up the tablecloth. We're going to start to set up. So, get your plate. We're going to start to build the dish and get it finished. First off, don't forget, I've got the coleslaw here, the fennel coleslaw. So that will go just off center. And essentially it's going to be like a bed. Alright? Then, don't forget that I've got my beautiful little segments of orange. Okay. Now, then I've got my braised fennel, which we've cooked really, really nicely and taken a huge amount of care. Now, whenever the chefs are plating up, they're always doing sort of, if you're doing 2 pieces of fish, do the lesser piece of fish first. So that would be there. There's the second part. And then of course, we have to do the chef's special. All right? And there's your dish. Okay? So, really, really, really nice, easy dish to do. Fennel, orange and sea bass, and these are the types of dishes that we do even for lunch over in Central. I hope you've had some fun and learned a few things. I hope I haven't annoyed you. Thank you so much for staying by, and I really do hope to see you again soon. Please come to Central when we reopen. Stay home, stay safe, be cool. Don't forget the mask, very, very important. All right, and so please take care and enjoy some of this. I hope you're going to remake it at home. All right, bye.